Hello and welcome to Corwin's Carnivore Cookery. I'm Corwin and today we're going to dry cure some beef. This is a Eye of Round. So it is a, what was on sale today, this week, $3 a pound. Got it from my local grocery store. I didn't raise this. The stuff that I have raised is in my freezer and I prefer to do fresh meat rather than frozen meat. So I've got to just go drain some fluid off this guy. So I'm back. Got it out of the wrapper. And first thing I'm going to do is do some trimming of it. This guy I'm basically going to cure like I would cure a pork loin. So what I'm doing is on the trimming, I'm just taking all this loose, icky silver skin, getting as much of it off as I can. Anything that's loose, just trimming it up so it looks nice. So when you first start, you're gonna want to first start with a clean surface. I washed down, wiped everything down with bleach. It's really important to keep this your work surface nice and clean because we are going to be dry aging this. So curing it, dry aging it, hanging it up, and I'm just doing this in my kitchen with my phone propped up, so not the best, but it works. So we just want to keep everything nice and clean. Take off all the loose stuff here, and it doesn't take much, but we will be into getting the salted and all that kind of good stuff here right away. I'm gonna leave. So there's a nice. So that's my meat. I've taken off some silver skin that's down in here that was hanging loose. I've got a little bit of fat right there I'm going to trim off.
You need to go in jail.
Probably hear my kids in the background watching TV. So there's this nice fat cap here. I'm going to leave that on and I'm going to let that dry age. So today what we're going to do is we are going to simply put this into a Ziploc bag. Put some salt cure, some spice on it if you want, and all you really need is your salt and your cure, and then put some starter culture on it, and we're gonna let this ferment. So I like to put it in Ziploc bags. So I've got a Ziploc bag. This guy is too big for my Ziploc bag. It won't fit. So I'm going to cut it in half, just for sheer convenience. So cut it in half. Show you that nice, see that nice fat cap on there. Nice, lots of muscle. It is a very lean cut if you take that fat cap off. I like to leave that on because I personally like eating the fat for my energy because, well, where else are you going to get it from? You got protein and you got energy. So first step, put meat in bag, okay? Pretty simple. Grab another Ziploc bag for the other half. And then I'll be done handling raw meat for a bit. In the Ziploc bag. Put our cutting board, which I use a plastic cutting surface. Super easy to clean. And clean and disinfect. So get my hands nice and clean, and then I am going to pick up the phone, do some weighing, and show you what I'm doing. So here we go. Here is our meat. First thing we're going to do is weigh this guy out. So 1344. We are going to want to put you're specification or to your desires. The nitrate that we're going to use, nitrite, is the nitrate 2. See, number 2? This is for a long cure. The number 1 is for a short cure. This is for a long cure. This has both nitrates and nitrites in it. It is what we want for a long cure. This is salted, and it says right in here, very important to follow the instructions, maximum 3 grams per kilogram. So that is so 3, so we're looking at 4, needing 4, roughly 4 grams of this stuff. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our nice little scale, we're going to tear that out, and we are going to open this up, get a spoon, and get a little bit of that out. And we're going to weigh this up. So we have our 4 grams. So that gives me my 4 grams. Not a lot, that's all we need. So now next product is salt. So I like to do 2 to 2.5%. It really depends on your taste. This is a pickling salt, non-iodized. We don't want, we just want to use just regular pure salt. You can use Himalayan salt, any salt you got, Redmond's. This is just a pickling salt that I use. So what is 2% of that is 26, and another half of that is going to be another 0.5%. So 2% is 26, so that is another 4. I should have done the math. I should have had a calculator. Brain fart. 65, so another 6.5, so 26, so 33.5. And this is to taste. If you like a product that's a little saltier, you can add a little more salt. Yeah, there we go. So now we're going to mix one into the other. We're going to mix this all up. And then we are simply going to add this into our bag. Get it all in there. Now I'm going to switch back so I can use 2 hands, because this is much easier with 2 hands. There we go. So we're just going to seal this up. And we are going to rub that salt all around. And the salt is going to draw out all the juices, and then it's going to draw the juices back in. And that's going to bring in salt into the meat, that's going to bring cure into the meat, and that is ultimately going to preserve your meat. So that's what we want to do. So as you can see, it's extremely dry right now. And I've got lots of air in there. So at this step, you can also take and put in your dry spices. Pepper, garlic, if that's something you want to do. This guy I did a couple days ago. It's been sitting in the fridge. And it's got just pepper, garlic, lots of it, because I put tons on it. And just been rubbing this, and I massage it daily. Get that all worked in there. So this has been a couple days. The other day that this was extremely soggy, wet, and now you can just see there's no loose liquid in there. The meat still feels very firm, but not stiff. It feels fairly fresh. We're gonna want to wait till that gets fairly stiff. So for this, we're looking at, having a good 3 to 4 inches. So I'm going to be letting this go for about 2 weeks to let this all cure properly and ferment, and then I will hang it up. But in the meantime, we got to get to fermenting. So what we do, get a little bit of water and some of this. This is starter culture for meat cultures. It's basically a lactic acid bacterium that is specifically designed for meat. So you can see I'm taking a fair amount. It's a bacteria. You don't have to really measure. This is probably way too much, but what the heck. Put it in there, dissolve, let that stir that up, let that sit and dissolve nicely. And then we are going to seal this back up, put it back in the Ziploc, put it back in the freezer. This is fairly pricey, 20-25 bucks. I've used in the past the whey off of yogurt. It helps quite a bit to drop your acidity. So what it's going to do is it's going to use the naturally occurring carbohydrates in the meat and convert that into lactic acid, dropping the pH, preserving the meat. Another thing you can do to drop the acidity is actually adding an acid. This is ascorbic acid, vitamin C. So I'm going to add to this a little bit of vitamin C. So how much am I going to add? I'm going to add my 2.5 grams, which isn't much. Once again, it's not much. Next to nothing, but it's enough to drop that acidity to help preserve that meat. Before I add my culture. So now I'll add my culture. I add my meat with my ascorbic acid, and I'm going to add a little bit in. I'm going to massage that, get as much of that air out, and let that sit. Like I said, you can put your spices in if you want. You can, I've got a couple more to inoculate. And the ones I spiced earlier this week also need inoculating, so I'll do that now. And then just wait, let that wait. I'll be back in a week's time to wrap these up, get these into a net, and get them hanging up. Kind of exciting. I really like to see the meat dry and convert into a nice, yummy product that I can eat. This would be called Brizola, dried beef. Everybody does it. Every culture does it. It's a way to preserve meat. If you are needing to preserve large quantities of meat, i.e., there's a global pandemic on and you need to preserve a lot of food really fast, what you need is salt. Salt will preserve food in the absence of refrigeration. 2 to 3% salt is all you need, 2.5%. 3% gets a little salty. If you're eating a lot of processed foods, you're probably not going to like 3%. I personally like 2.5 to 3%, but I don't eat a lot of salt, and I need more salt in my diet because I don't eat processed food. I don't eat carbs. I eat meat, and my wife makes me eat a few vegetables every now and then. Shh, don't tell her I said that. She knows I like meat. Yeah, so tune back in about a week's time, and I'll be tying these guys up, my spiced ones, and be putting them back into my drying chamber, or be putting them into my drying chamber, and then we'll be waiting. And it's going to take about 6 months for these guys to dry down, 4 to 6 months, and then we'll slice into them and see what we got. Well, that's it for now from Corwin's Carnivore Cookery. If you ever need to preserve meat in the time of a global pandemic, remember, salt at 2.5 to 3%, and you're good to go. This is meat. This is beef, top round. I also do loins, and on Thursday, I do believe it, Wednesday or Thursday this week, I am getting a case, about 20 kilograms of pork bellies for making baking and pancetta. So tune in, and we'll wrap up some pork bellies into a nice round, show you how to do a butcher's knot and to tie a roast. It's lots of fun and create some wonderful products. So tune in, and that's it for Corwin's Carnivore Cookery. Please give me some thumbs up, show me some love, put some comments down. In the bottom helps with the whole sharing thing and getting it out to more people. And please share this on your social media, share it with your friends so more people can learn how to make wonderful dried meats and cured meats in their own home, and how to cook meat. There's a lot of people coming off a traditional diet don't know how to actually cook anymore. So let's learn some new skills. Once again, it's Corwin from Corwin's Carnivore Cookery. Thank you for tuning in, and see you later this week.